lights on, cameras roll, time to break the mold. No more silence, every story's gotta be told. Truth in the air, no filter, no disguise. Real talk, real change, we open up your eyes. We got the voices that are changing the game. Fearless, unchained, calling our names. From the struggles to the rise, we expose, we ignite. No topic too deep when you step in the light. We got the ventures, spotlight at your truth be heard. Unfiltered conversations, every thought, every word. We challenge, we question, we dive in the deep, breaking the silence. No secrets we keep. From the pain to the power, the lessons we learn. Voices of the people, let the fire burn. Dr. Donna, Dr. Laxley, leading the way, guiding the truth in a world full of gray. Experts, activists, voices untold. Everyday heroes with stories so bold. This is more than a show, it's a movement, a spark, illuminating shadows, bringing light to the dark. We got the voices that are changing, be heard. Unfiltered conversations, every thought, every word. We challenge, we question, we dive in the deep, breaking the silence. No secrets we keep. Step into the spotlight, let your truth be heard. Unfiltered conversations, every thought, every word. We challenge, we question, we dive in the deep, breaking the silence. No secrets we keep. We got the voices, spotlight, let your truth be heard. Unfiltered conversations, every thought, every word. We challenge, we question, we dive in the deep, breaking the silence. No secrets we keep. And if you want the real, then tune in right now. We're breaking down. One mic, one voice, one mission tonight. Step into the spotlight, let's get it right. Let's get it right. Head to the spotlight. Let's get it right. What do?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to In the Spotlight. This is the home of unfiltered conversations, where real talk is what we do. I am none other than Dr. Donna Thompson.
I'm Dr. Laxley Stephenson, and together we are your moderators. Hi, Donna.
Woo-hoo.
What's going on, Donna?
Oh, not much, but a whole lot.
Hey, gonna have to explain that one.
I know, right? I think it's a lot mentally that's going on. That's what's happening.
Mm.
How are you
Well,
doing?
I am good. Just came back from Jamaica, right on the heels of coming back from Kenya. So I feel much like a foreigner in America right now, and I don't know that that is a bad thing. Jamaica was just so beautiful. A bit hot,
Mm-hmm.
but awesome. What a great place. What a great place to call home, to say
Nice.
that I am a Jamaican. It's just an awesome, awesome, awesome feeling. And likewise to say I am a honorary citizen of Kenya, because Kenya was also beautiful, awesome, you know? So that's what I have to say.
Well, I did not get the opportunity to go to Jamaica, and I had to stay here and bask in the 90s and the 100-degree weather without the beach. But that's okay. I am happy you went. Hopefully, you went to the beach.
Well, I did, but let me tell you something about talking about 100 degrees, right? Jamaica is very hot.
Mm,
And it's a different kind of heat, but you feel it, right?
right.
So, yes, I went to the beach. Negril, of course, that's my place. Went to Negril, went to St. Elizabeth, Wise Falls, and that is something.
Oh,
Everybody talks about Dunn's River Falls, but there
hmm
are falls in Jamaica, right? So St. Elizabeth, Wise Falls, man, it's just amazing. Went down to other parts of St. Elizabeth, was in Montego Bay for a while. Just an awesome time. Awesome
oh,
time.
nice. That's the one part of the island that I have not. Well, there's several other parishes I have never been to, but I hear a lot about Saint Elizabeth, and well, especially from you because that's where you're from. So you're always saying great things about it.
Well, let's clarify where I'm from, right? So I am from Westmoreland, Little London, the
Mm,
Western end, but I have connections to St. Elizabeth as well, right? That's where my father is from. So I do have a connection there as well. So both, one on the south coast, one on the west coast of Jamaica, connecting parishes,
mhm.
beautiful. So we got to get you down there. We got to get you to check out Jamaica, the western tip of Jamaica, right? Hanover, Montego Bay, St. James into Hanover, into Westmoreland, and around the south coast back into St. Elizabeth. You don't come any better than that. We got to get you in there, right? So we got
All
to plan
right.
a trip.
Yes, yes, I'm ready.
A collision with purpose needs to go to Jamaica, just
Yes,
like we did
I am ready.
Kenya, our son. So we're going to make that happen. Hello, Elizabeth Setawa. Thanks for joining us from Kenya. It's always great having you on. I know it's a bit late or early in the morning, but we're so appreciative that you're on. Thanks for joining us. So Donna, we've done a lot. We've done a lot leading into Kenya. We have been on a break. This is our second live show. Second
Mhm.
live show. So we're picking up again and we're gonna just get this thing off running like we do here at the Collision with Purpose. Now, what do you have in store for us here at the Collision with Purpose? Have you formulated a plan? What are we looking at? When is our next trip?
Oh my goodness. So, like we said, we're just talking that we probably need to be really expanding, right? Expanding our region. So next trip is really looking at the perspective of really going to Jamaica and taking a collision with purpose to Jamaica. Hopefully, we can do that early next year if all goes well. We can definitely look at making that trip possible to go to Jamaica so that we can just expand our reach and our territory. We have done quite a bit in Kenya thus far. There is some foundational work that we're still working on with Kenya that we're having to kind of iron out and just building, continue building our business there and capacity and everything else that is still taking place in Kenya. But definitely looking as far as a next trip would be venturing to Jamaica, which I think is fitting because of course that is where we're both from. We're both from Jamaica, and it is fitting to take the organization there. And of course, coming back from the trip, we're working on the project of doing our documentary and writing and just really capturing all of the essence and everything that took place on this trip in 2025, the 2025 Kenya community outreach. So that's a pretty big project that we're working on, and just really working on that. And just doesn't include us, but all the team members, right? All the team members who accompanied us on the journey there, they are all a part of the project that's coming up. So just looking forward to that.
All right. And if that isn't enough, I know we Kenya is on our mind. So next year sometime it is very likely that we will be back in Kenya.
Correct.
And so and then there are some other locations in this world. 'Cause we're a global organization and our work is global.
Hmm.
Anytime you talk about purpose, it incorporates so many people, right? I don't know what the world's population is, but that is our market. That is our target market, whatever that number is, no matter where you are. Now we like to work with the underserved, of course. So we seek out opportunities there to do work there. All right. To lift people up, to bring them into that space where they're walking, they're working in their purpose, and they're making a difference, right, in their communities. So it's all about building communities. All right. So we do have a guest we're going to be bringing on shortly. But before we do so, let's take a quick break and then bring her on. All right? Let's
Okay.
do it. Okay. I'm a boy kid. I'm a boy kid. I'm a boy kid. I'm a boy kid. I wake up in the morning and I praise the Lord. I thank Him for His protection and I walk in His steps, declaring that today's provision is set up for me. I love God and I love my friends. Yeah, I'm a bold kid. I'm a bold kid. I'm a bold kid. I put on my armor and I write His word, blessing come out of my mouth. Cause I know to whom I belong. I am bold for Christ, Holy Spirit dwelling within me, carrying His presence wherever He sends me. I'm a bold kid. I'm a bold kid. I'm a bold kid. I'm a bold kid. Loving others as He told me to pray for healing, miracles to see, knowing my identity in Christ, He is in me. I am a bold kid, He loves me, standing firm on His word, proclaiming everything I heard, not afraid because He is with me. Be bold. I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid. I put on my armor and I write His word, blessing come out of my mouth. Because I know to whom I belong. I am bold for Christ, Holy Spirit dwelling within me, carrying His presence wherever He sends me. I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid. All right, welcome back to In the Spotlight, the home where nothing is left out, raw, unfiltered. We cover it all here, right?
Yes,
Cover
we
it.
do.
Yes, we do. I like that. All right, so Donna, we have a guest. Let's bring her on. Let's do your thing. Let's introduce her. Let's get her involved.
All right. So I'm just kind of a little snippet of who our guest is this evening. So joining us this evening is Shaquilla Williams. And she is a single mom of two beautiful daughters and a devoted believer of the Lord. But what really strikes me about Shaquilla is her story. She's the second of four siblings, and she experienced really hardship at a young age, right? She had a mother battling with mental illness. Her father, she lost at the tender age of 5 years old to HIV. And as a young person, she sought love and acceptance, of course, in all the wrong places, leading her into the world of sex, alcohol, smoking, all those things to just kind of escape and fill the void of what was missing. So her story and what she's going to share with us this evening, I'm just going to tell y'all to just brace yourselves because this is a woman who have overcome a lot, and we can learn a lot from her this evening. So, with that, let's go ahead and do our nice little drum roll. We're gonna get a real drum one day. Doc has a real drum,
I
and let's
don't,
welcome
I don't think we need a drum the way you play that eardrum.
hello, hello,
Hello, everyone.
welcome, welcome. How are you this evening?
Well, I just want to say thank you so much for having me, Ms. Donna and Dr. Stephenson. It is a pleasure. I am blessed and highly favored. Thank you so much for asking.
Wow. Dr. Donna, can I tell you something about Shaquilla?
Sure.
There is never a morning that I don't get a text saying good morning.
Aww.
And sometimes I hope I respond all the time, right? Because I try to, but it's almost like a wake up ding, like,
Hmm.
good morning. And so a very disciplined person, Shakila, thanks for checking in on me. I appreciate that, and for that wonderful good morning. So we need to hear that. We need to say that more, I believe. We need to say that more to our friends. So I appreciate that. Now, Shakila, as Donna said, Dr. Donna said, welcome to In the Spotlight. Let's start our conversation. Tell us a little bit about your roots. You started out in Mount Vernon, New York. What was it like growing up there, and how has that city shaped the woman you have become?
I'm going to be totally honest with you. If anyone knows the song from Alicia Keys, Concrete Jungles is where it's made up. That would describe Mount Vernon, New York. Mount Vernon, New York taught me to be resilient and actually to mature at an early age in life. It's a diverse place. Great people come from there, like Denzel Washington, Felicia Rashard. So I'm not going to paint a picture as if it was hard, but in a sense it was. You really had to make sure that all your T's and I's were dotted in Mount Vernon. It's only 4 square miles, so everyone knew everyone, or everyone somehow was related by somebody. So growing up in Mount Vernon, it wasn't challenging for me, but it gave me a really strong insight of growing up quickly, if that makes sense.
Hmm, make a lot of sense. You know, Bob Marley also did a song called Concrete Jungle.
Ooh.
The original, when he said, no sun will shine in my day today. Darkness has covered my life. So that you would reference that, I think that was so powerful. You talk about concrete jungle and that Mount Vernon. Donna, have you been to Mount Vernon?
Yeah, I had a granduncle that lived in Mount Vernon, but I probably only visited twice.
Yeah, yeah, I've been through that place myself. Quite an interesting place. So, yeah, Donna, I know you have questions for Shaquille.
Yeah, so that New York thing, I can definitely, even though it was Mount Vernon, but I can definitely relate to that New York thing. What they say, if you can't survive in New York, you can't survive anywhere else.
Yeah.
It definitely matures you, right? Yeah, you can definitely experience some things. But I want to ask you because I see that you know you you're the second of four siblings, right?
Yes.
So I'm quite sure you had to play some type of a big sister role in your family. Um, how did those early relationships influence your sense of identity? you know, really being a part of the family that you came from?
Um, Being the second of the second oldest of four, it built me up real quickly because my mother, as you stated, she had mental illness. My dad wasn't in the picture. So we were with our family, which was my great grandmother. She took us out of the system. But more importantly, it grew me up to be a leader. It grew me up to be a peacemaker, because my family, I'm gonna be totally honest, it was in dysfunction. And if that's all you know, that's what you thrive off of. I was more so of the peacemaker, the one that wanted to resolve the issue and let it go, not harbor it and hold on to it. I was also the achiever because no one in my family graduated or that I saw that achieved a lot of things. So I wanted to, be the first one to break that generational curse. So I've always was hard on myself. I always had to make sure if I had a C that I made sure I studied a little bit harder to get that B or get that A, or I just had to be always on the fence about my education because it wasn't very important in my family. And I also had to be the caretaker of my great grandmother, which I miss and love dearly, Patty Lou Williams, because she taught me that it doesn't matter where you come from. It's a matter about where you're going. And I miss her dearly because she kept the family together. And that's what she instilled in me, always be a leader, always do the right thing, and stand up for what's right. So that basically made me of who my identity is today.
Wow. So with that, I see where, just a follow-up question from that, Shaquilla, where you lost your dad at such a young age, at 5 years old, and your mom, having to struggle with mental illness. How, at being 5 years old, like, how were you able to make sense of all that was happening around you at that time? Or were you able, like, how did you navigate that whole process there at 5 years old?
Honestly, Dr. Donna, I really didn't process it at 5 years old. As I got a little older, I started asking questions to my family, like, where's my dad? What happened to him? And why wasn't he a part of our life? And then that kind of got to, a child should stay in a child's place. And I was like, no, there's some questions that as I got older, I wanted to know, like, where's my dad? Why wasn't he around? And coming to find out the truth, it's not like my dad didn't want to be in my life. We were kept from our dad due to whatever circumstances. But to long story short, the little vision that I did have of him when I did see him before he died, he looked like he wanted to be a part of, my life, but I guess, didn't get a chance to. But um, I really couldn't even fathom or think of what was going on, but I knew as I got older, there was some things that I needed to know that wasn't said, and I wanted the truth. So um, I was trying to process it, I guess you would say, and that also brought me to even growing up fast because I'm like, you know, we were raised up. Thank God for my grandmother. Thank God for what she did, but why wasn't some stuff told to us? Why was things left out? So I think I more so ventured out to find my own truth, which wasn't always the good thing to do, but I later on discovered, why he wasn't in my life and so forth and so on.
Right, right.
Mhm. Wow. Now, Shakira, by the way, congratulations. You graduated recently, didn't you?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Big deal. Tell us about what was that experience like? Tell us about that.
Whew. Well, Dr. Stevenson, it was a good feeling, but I also, like I stated, I believe I was grieving because even though my mother is mentally ill and she knew, that I was graduating, I really couldn't share like regular people would be able to share. She just knew her daughter was graduating. She was there and I didn't see her for about 3 years. So it was very emotional. My daughters are my biggest cheerleaders besides God, my daughters, because they were there when I first graduated with my associates and they were there now. And they were like, Ma, you could do anything. You didn't stop. You didn't give up. I had to stop college because I got pregnant with my first daughter. But um, my daughters were like, Ma, you went back. And I'm going to go back to get more education. But I just believe I'm just taking this pause for right now, just to ingest everything because it's still new to me. But I think it was very exciting and it was grieving because it's like certain family members wasn't there, but my mom was there, my children were there, but it was very exciting overall.
Mm. Well, what's your degree in?
Healthcare administration, business management.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that, because your success story. That's part of your success story. You talk about resilience, and you are all about being resilient. That's your life, and that you went back and you continue your education is an awesome message that you're sending out there for your children and for others as well. Because I believe that education is a big piece of what we need, in our culture. In our culture. So looking back, what did the young Shaquilla needed most during those formative years?
Love.
Mm. Wow. And if you can't get love or find love from the people who should be giving it to you, then that can lead to all kinds of stuff, right? Not so good. Some of it not so good.
That is correct.
Yes, that is correct indeed. As and you talk about love, as a teenager, you did you reached out to try and find love and validation in some risky ways, right? What do you now understand about that season of your life that you didn't understand back then?
Phew, I learned a lot. One thing I did learn was the world will chew you up and eat you out. And the reason why I say that because I've went through all kind of, experiences and I take full accountability of those experiences. But honey, going to the street to find love is not the right answer. And unfortunately I grew up in church as well. But I just needed to fill a void. And unfortunately, smoking, drinking, it led to different things that didn't fill the void either. But I would tell my younger self, just get to know yourself and love yourself, and people will treat you how you want to be treated if you love yourself. So number one, love yourself. That's the first key because no one can do you any good if you don't love yourself. So yeah, the street, like I said, definitely did not show me love. I had to go through hardship after hardship and whatever else I had to endure. However, today I do the opposite. I show my kids love. I let them know it's not about tangible things. It's about love, and honest love, so I don't ever want to be in a place where um I'm abusing my kids or I'm saying, oh, just because, you're my child, this is love. No, if I'm wrong, tell me that I'm wrong. So like I said, I believe love is the main thing that you can give somebody, especially, your mother, your father, or your caretaker, whoever that may be.
Mhm. Dr. Donna,
Wow.
you know, we're talking about love and finding love in the wrong place, right? Anything you want to add to that? Because we have people out there who are listening to us, and I know you are a person of great wisdom. And you want to give some advice?
You know, I, what Shaquilla is saying, it's just, it's so on point, right? Because so many, so many young people, they miss out on that one thing, that four-letter word, love. And a lot of times, like you said, if the void is at home, because even though you had church and you had all these other places where I'm quite sure, they were nurturing and they were showing you affection and all that stuff, but the foundation at home, what we are called to do and what we're charged to do as parents is that love, is to show our children love. Because then once you show them that, then they can go out there and conquer the world, right? But to your point, if we fail our children at showing them love, and like you said, love doesn't have to be tangible. You don't have to have stuff to show love. But if we fail our children at showing them love, then unfortunately we send them to the streets and they're going to look for it there, and they're definitely not going to get it there. And then we're creating broken children, and then later on they become broken adults who now have to go back and find themselves.
Mm,
So I commend you for breaking the cycle and taking the path to where you were able to fight all those adversities, and get on the other side. So for even anyone who's watching us, just look at Shaquilla as a perfect example, where if you're in that situation now and you feel that way, just know that you too can get through it, right? You can find resources and you can get through it, so that you can break that cycle. You can definitely break that cycle. Um, but yeah, I'm strong on the parent thing. You gotta show your children love. And
mhm.
and one thing I want to say, because I grew up with a single mom, and I knew my dad and all that good stuff, and I don't want to get into all that stuff. However, even if one parent is missing, it doesn't mean that that other parent, you can, of course, you can't replace your parents, right? You can't. But that other parent, you can still show your children love and affection and raise them in such a way that they're not necessarily missing out on so much of not having that other person around. Because things happen in life, just like with you, Shaquilla, your dad passed at a young age. You were a tender age of 5. Um, However, if mom was in a good state of mind, there were things that she potentially could have done to help guide you down a better path. So even as parents out there, even if you're a single parent, um, things happen in life where we may miss, one parent may not be there, but you still can be lovable to your children. And don't let the world uh, make you treat your children indifferently, and kind of like end up abusing your children, right? Don't let the world put those things on you to do that to your children. Just love your children.
Mm. Love your children, love your neighbor. Just love, love, love. All right. So let's take a quick break and we'll come back. We'll talk about turning point. All right.
In a forge of life where strong survive, a tale is written of hearts that strive. Through fire and flame they find their way, becoming iron where courage holds sway. Becoming iron with hearts forged in fire. Tales of courage and conviction rising even higher. Displaying strength in the fiercest fight. Becoming iron, shining in the night. The brave man faces the darkest night. The empowered man fights with all his might. The resilient man stands unwavering and strong. The inspired man knows where he belongs. Together they rise, conquering fears, becoming iron through trials and tears. Becoming iron with hearts scorching fire. Tales of courage and conviction rising even higher. Displaying strength in the fiercest fight. Becoming iron, shining in the night. In the tales of old and the battles new, convictions light sees them through. From abysses deep to the morning light, they become mine. In the endless fight, becoming iron, with hearts watching fire. Tales of courage and conviction rising even higher. Displaying strength in the fiercest fight. Becoming iron, shining in the night. In the tales of old and the battles new, convictions light sees them through. From abysses deep to the morning light, they become mine. In the endless fight, becoming iron, with hearts scorching fire. Tales of courage and conviction rising even higher. Displaying strength in the fiercest fight. Man becoming iron, shining in the night.
Right, welcome back. Welcome back to In the Spotlight, the home of raw, unfiltered information. All right, so I thought that was a fitting song to play, given our guest, Shaquilla Williams, her story of resilience and redemption. So we've joined here with Marjorie Banton, all the way from London. We have Sitawa Kisiangani from Kenya. So we have quite a international audience here tonight. And they all turned out for you, Tequila. So let's talk a little bit about turning points and transformation. You mentioned an unexpected pregnancy before your turning point. Can you take us back to that moment? What shifted for you emotionally and mentally?
Yes, my mind. That kind of shifted from you got to grow up. Even though I was living in a mindset of I'm already grown, having to fend for myself in different areas. Now I have a child on top of it, and I'm like, whoa, what did I get myself into with this? But I'm going to be totally honest. My daughter saved my life. If I didn't get pregnant, I think if it makes sense, I would have went down the wrong path.
Mhm.
Because the word outside that the young people use today, I that was my brand name. I was always outside. I was at the party. I was the life of the party. So I think that could have ultimately killed me if I would have continued down that path. So when I thought the ending of my life was my daughter, that actually was the beginning of my transformation.
Wow.
Mhm.
An unexpected pregnancy, what you thought was the end, was your collision.
Yeah,
Wow. Donna, how about that?
Wow.
You never know where your blessings coming from, right?
indeed.
You never know.
But see, it goes back to right that thing, right, Doc, where something that that appeared to have been so bad, so terrible,
Mhm.
to have happened to you in such a time turned out to be your blessing.
Yes.
Yep. The
to
best thing ever happened.
the best. Right, right, right,
It
right,
could have happened.
right, right. But it goes to show that she was able to take that thing, that unexpected pregnancy, and flipped it and turn it into something positive for her in her life.
So you see, that's a common thread in Shaquilla's story, right?
Hmm.
All these things that are not so pleasant, but yet she tend to turn them around. She did with her education, with her pregnancy. And again, when you introduce her, you use the word resilience. That's a big, big thing. All right. So, Donna, I know you have questions.
Yeah. So, was there? And I knew the pregnancy um, was a turning point. But was there a specific moment in that time, maybe in a quiet time, when you knew for sure you could not continue on the same path and had to choose something different? And if you could share with us what that was like.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like I said, the big scare for me was I was working, and every time, I would leave work, I had Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That was my day off. And unfortunately, my friend invited me out. I went to a party, and all of a sudden, I started bleeding. And honestly, that kind of shocked me. Like, wait a minute, I may got some calculation wrong. I don't know what's going on. Let me go to the hospital. And from there, I had a gut feeling. I'm like, something is not right, but let's just go to make sure. And when she said, let's do an ultrasound, and she said, you are pregnant. And she said, you're 4 months pregnant at that. And I'm like, whoa. So I think it wasn't the pregnancy, it was like that gut punch, like, whoa, you've been pregnant this long and you did not know that. So it only scared me because I'm like, I was still, in the street, and I was still not in the street, but more so like partying. And I wasn't, I was just going to work, doing double hours, so forth and so on. So I think more so when I found out that I was bleeding, and that ultrasound showed that I was 4 months pregnant, I was like, wow, that was the moment that I was like, ooh, I mean, things has to change, Shaquilla. I mean, and in all honesty, when I found out I was pregnant, I was in denial. Like, it didn't program until I actually started feeling the kicking. And I'm like, I'm pregnant, So I think that was the moment for me when I went to the hospital and did that ultrasound.
So it's interesting you said you were in denial. So
I was.
so and I'm laughing about it because I can only imagine like how many women, young girls, teenagers, probably have gone through something like this, right? So if you could just share, like when you say you're in denial, were you thinking like it was just going to go away? Is that kind of denial?
I was in delusion, honestly. I'm like, how am I pregnant? Like, I mean, and don't get me wrong, I know what I did and how I got it. Yeah.
Right.
But it didn't register to me. I think sometimes when you go through trauma, you
Hmm.
kind of ignore certain things. So I think for me, it was more so of, I don't want this to seep in. I'm enjoying the moment that I'm in, and this is just news to me that has took me for a different loop. And yeah, that's what it was. I was in denial. I knew what the lady said. I got the sonogram of the baby, in my stomach, but I just didn't want to believe it. I even told the children's father, and he was like very happy. He was an older guy, but I as a young woman, I just I guess I was in delusion, honestly, Ms. Donna, because I didn't want to hear that. And in all honesty, I wanted to be selfish, and but it really grew me up, as I stated. Once I felt that kick, that kick just was like, no, Shaquilla, you're pregnant, and we just have to make a lot of changes.
Right, right, right,
That kick woke you up, huh?
right.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Now, moving forward, single mom, two beautiful daughters. How has motherhood redefined strength and love for you?
It showed me that love is patient. Love is unconditional. And honestly, love is not in the streets. You can find love right in your home. And my girls have been a, a great part of me healing with the word love. They have loved on me through the good, through the bad, and the indifferent. You know, as parents, we may think, "Oh, we're perfect." No, I'm not perfect. The book did not come with a manual on how to raise children as a single mom. However, I have to give their father credit because most part of their life he was there. We were together, and he helped me as well raise my children. So I want to give credit to him, but for the most part, love is patient. And that's something that I did not have. I was living the fast life and I wanted things fast. And it showed me that you have to be patient. You have to go through the process. It's not an overnight thing. And honestly, I built a relationship with my children where if I'm doing something wrong or if something that they don't like, they come to me, Mom, that wasn't right. And they let me know, and I have to apologize. I never got that as a child. All I got was a child is supposed to stay in a child's place. But my children does it with so much respect that I have to do anything but to honor them because they are absolutely right. I don't get it right all the time. I'm not a genius. I don't know everything. So they're helping me as well on this journey with raising them. So, but most thing people say, Shaquilla, the love that you show is remarkable, and you didn't come from it. But yeah, I chose to reverse it and do the opposite.
Mm. Big stuff, Dr. Donna.
Mhm. Awesome. I commend you for it. So, how how do you balance sharing your past life experience with the girls? And trying to be as honest and authentic as possible, um, and protect their innocence in that whole process while helping to shape their future.
Honestly, in all honesty, as they gotten older, because I have a teenager and I have a preteen, I gave them my book to read. We never really sat down to talk about a lot of stuff until after they read my book. And they were like, wow, Ma, we did not know these are some of the challenges and some of the things that you went through. However, what I did inform them about was generational curses. I think in this day and age, that's not talked about a lot. And I want my children not to be naive about that. We are fighting generational curses. I am literally fighting for my life and fighting for a better future for you guys. And there's sometimes that you may not understand why I do a thing, but this is the reason why. And my kids are so wise, as if, like my grandmother said, they've been here before because they understand. And we have dialogue as if, me and you are talking now. So I just feel I tackle most of the things that I can tell them. I don't want anything hidden from them. And they have to grow up and like, Ma, you didn't tell us, you didn't share that. So when they read my book, we got to expound on, the different things of my life and, why I am the way I am. Because sometimes my kids are like, Ma, now we know why it's a method to what you do and how you do it. And I'm like, yeah, it's just the wisdom that my grandmother imparted in me. But also I have to protect you guys, So, and my ultimate desire and honor to the Father is to take care of you guys and to protect you guys. Of course, you may fall into challenges when you're out in college. But if I can do anything to help to prevent you and to be real and honest and raw with you, I would like, I tell them that right then and there. But yeah, they're very bright girls, and I just thank God for their life because, like I said, it's not easy, but with God, all things are possible.
Mm. What a way to end that. With God,
Mhm.
all things are possible. Shaquilla, you talk about your book. Your book told on you, right?
Yeah,
No, you tell us about your book.
Mhm.
Share, tell us about your book. What is the
my book
title?
is sorry.
No, go ahead.
My book is called Cage Without a Voice, and I got that name because I was in a domestic violence shelter um, at the time when I left their father. And the Holy Spirit gave me that name because I lost myself in that relationship. I lost my identity in that relationship. And it doesn't take away of him being a great father. That's not the picture that I'm trying to paint. But the picture that I'm trying to paint is you could be so consumed that you lose who you are and whose you are. I became mute. I became a person that didn't express myself anymore. I kind of adapted his culture. I kind of adapted, which is okay, but I kind of lost myself even trying to parent. So I'm a young girl with an older man in a different culture from America with a Caribbean background. And it was just a lot that I was processing, honestly, Dr. Stevenson. But nonetheless, I didn't lose who I was
Mm,
far as what the Lord said who I am. I kind of got that fight back. And when I wrote that book, Cage Without a Voice, it talks about how the Lord had to take me through the domestic abuse and really solely depend on Him. And that
Mhm.
shelter, I depended, my arm baby, she was about 2 months or 3 months. And my youngest was 4 years old when I left. So I had to muster up the strength to say, enough is enough. I will not be abused verbally, mentally, physically, no more. This is not my portion. And a lot of people's like, how did you do it? I said, well, I took my faith and the clothes on our back and I left. Honestly, I reached out to resources and they said they were having availability and I did what I had to do. So I say that to say my book is to encourage anyone that's in a domestic violence relationship or whatever have you mentally, physically, mentally, emotionally, to get out, seek help, get out.
mm,
That is not your portion. God did not design you to be beat up on, cursed out. No, He did not allow that. So that's what my book is about. I am working on another book, but that's for a later date. But yeah, that's my baby that I had to birth out when I saw it help out of a domestic violence relationship. I
mm.
started writing.
Where's your book available? Where can we get a copy or anyone
My book is My book is on Amazon and BarnesandNobles.com.
And can you say the title one more time?
Cage Without a Voice.
That is some title.
Cage
Cage
without a
with
voice.
voice. Big stuff. Big stuff. All right. So
Wow.
yeah, you know, what are some of the values or principles that you strive to instill in your children on a daily basis?
And of course, Dr. Stevenson, I'm not perfect, but I try to instill love thyself.
Mm,
Don't seek love in all the wrong places. because, like I stated, it only chewed me up and spit me out. So if they're dealing with anything, I tell my kids, come to me, talk to me. I do not want my kids to seek advice for the outside from their friends. That is good, but I think ultimately you should have a relationship and a bond with your kids to whereas they can come to you and speak to you just about anything. Something that was not instilled in my home. It was always a child should be a child and this, that, and the third. Different times for different measures. But I think nowadays, this generation that we are in, they need you to listen and sometimes not even respond. Just listen to them. And I listen to my girls. I hear what they say, and even sometimes when don't think I'm listening, I do. I say, "Well, let's have talk. Let's have some talks. Let's have some conversations." So I instill that love yourself. Do not seek love in all the wrong places. And I do understand that I had my dad missing in my life, so that was one component. And they don't have their dad missing in their life. However, if I mean, you could go to your counselor, go to someone, but I just think going to the streets is a bad option to seek love.
Mm. All right, let's stay off the street. That's saying outside. Let's stay inside, indoors. All right, Doc.
Wow. So we know that you definitely, your faith has really kept you strong and going, staying the course. But what role has your faith played in your healing and being so resilient?
Honestly, and I'm going to be truly transparent. Sometimes my faith kind of got me in a little bit of jams that people look at me and like, you're crazy. But I can truly say I have dealt with the Father and to know that He always is there with me, even to the very end. And I say that to say, even when I was in the shelter, even when I was a child, even when there was days that I cried, the Lord I always felt the presence of the Holy Spirit on me to like, you're not alone. There's sometimes that I did rebel. And I think because that was for misguiding of who God is. And as I got older, I had to unlearn to relearn, if that makes sense, because I grew up in a background where you couldn't wear lipstick. That was a sin. This was a sin. That was a sin. So I had to redefine faith and redefine God all together, raising my girls. And you don't have to live a boring, dead life being in Christ. So my girls, we have fun. We live, and we don't have to, be subject to man-made law as far as you have to wear skirts all the way down to your leg. There's a lot of relearning that I had to do, honestly, with walking this faith journey. And I truly think that the Lord wanted me isolated in certain seasons to get that relationship, because it's not about religion. It's about intimacy with Him. So, honestly, this is the best journey that I'm walking with Him, and really walking it out with Him the way I should. I don't think growing up I did what I should have done far as getting to know who I am and whose I am, because there was a lot of misconstrued doctrine that was instilled in us from different folks in our family. So but my faith has never failed me, and I instill that in my children. Hold on to God, because God will not fail you at all. So, regardless where you at in life, what walk you are in life, and I don't care where I find myself. If I find myself in the streets, at the club, I'm bringing God with me. So it's about drawing people out of darkness, and that's just my goal, to make disciples. That's it.
Mm.
All right, Doc.
Thank you, Dr. Donna and Shaquilla. You're on a mission. You're on a mission. Your relationship with God become personal, and it's less about religion. When did all this happen?
I'm sorry.
Now, we're talking about your relationship. When did your relationship with God become personal rather than just religious?
I would say going to my church when I lived in Atlanta. Shout out to my pastor, Pastor Anthony Mitchell. He's in out of Atlanta. The church is called 2819. I think I started unpacking the mask. I started unpacking the fake religion or the fake, image of God. And he just said, "Be real," And he's from I mean, he's not from Mount Vernon. He's from New York as well. And I think going to that church has instilled in me, you can be yourself, but it's about relationship over religion. So I just want to say, it wasn't me just coming to Christ and unpacking. It was people along the way, like Pastor Mitchell, that has instilled in me relationship over religion.
Mm. Dr. Donna, that conversation, relationship versus religion, is quite an interesting one. And we've been hearing it.
Yeah, but definitely
Yeah.
building meaningful and sincere relationships.
Mm.
Hmm.
Now, Shaquilla, you do shows like this, right? You have your own podcast.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Well, my podcast was stemmed from using my voice because the Lord, because like I told you, when I wrote my book, Cage Without a Voice, I lost everything. I lost my voice. I lost my identity. And the Lord said, well, you need to start back. How you're going to start back is I'm like, I don't want to be seen. I don't want my face seen, just my voice. That's it, Lord. What am I to do? And he said, when I was living in Atlanta 3 years ago, he said, do a podcast. So, right in the living room, I didn't have anything. I utilized what I had in my hand, and it started building and growing from there. People from Ghana, India, was inboxing me like, Where's the next one? Where's the next one?" And I think that's how I began to um, regain my voice, regain my strength, and tapping back into what the Lord initially created my path to be.
Wow.
You know, this idea of a podcast is there was a time when you had to go beyond us, right? To be invited on a podcast, you had to be some kind of a celebrity or something, some type of organized entity having these shows. So I think that this podcasting is becoming so common, and so accessible for everyday people is a beautiful thing. It's a great thing because where else would you get to hear Shaquilla's story of resilience and redemption if we didn't have shows like these and popping up everywhere?
Hmm.
And that's the significance. If you believe that you should start a show, just go out there and do it. Go out there and make it happen. Because we can't have enough of these shows, especially when the conversation is something like this of relevance. Because what Shaquilla is sharing with us tonight is not even just about her. So many, as unique as her story is to her, it is not unique. Her story is happening all over the place, everywhere. So, Shaquille, we really appreciate you coming on and just talking and talking about what some would see as not present, because of what you had to experience. But you have really turned it. You've really reshaped it. And I like what you said about relearning, because much of what we learn we need to unlearn.
Mhm.
So
Oh, Lord.
that's a whole different show and conversation. But it's so relevant and so important what you're talking about there. Yeah, so I know we're running on time and we have so many questions and so many things we need to talk about. So let me just jump to, let's say someone is out there who's listening to you and they feel a bit trapped by their past or ashamed of their story. What do you want to say to them?
I would love to say your story doesn't define your future. Tell your story. It's not even about you, like you said, Dr. Stevenson. It's about pulling other people out. To be honest with you, there's so many people that come to me and ask me questions, and it's not because I know it all. It's because I went through it. I experienced it. I can help them. Um, I, I, I have wisdom and knowledge on it. It's not like I'm making stuff up or Googling it. It came from my experience. So don't allow anyone to take your experience from you. But like I said, it's a greater purpose on why you had to go through what you had to go through.
Mhm. I'll ask Dr. Donna to respond to that.
No, definitely what you're saying is your experience is your experience and it's your story, right? And a lot of people are out there suffering. So, like you're saying, definitely reach out and reach out to resources and speak on what you're going through and seek help, right? For whatever it is that you're going through. Um, but, I know we're our time, right? Our time is going. This is so much information that it's kind of hard to go through it in such a short time. Uh, but I wanted to ask you, Shaquilla, because you've been through so much and you've overcome so much. What does success mean to you now after everything that you've gone through? What does success really look like for you now?
Freedom. I know people would say money, this, that, but I believe once you have freedom and wisdom and the knowledge, you can that's an opening door for getting tangible things. So I would say freedom. Do what God tells you to do, walk in it freely, boldly, and free other people because it's not about you again.
Mm.
So that's success for me, freedom.
Freedom.
Wow.
Mm. Very, very profound. Now, if your life could speak a message, and you've had quite a life, right? So, so what would your life say to the world?
I would say that they say that she took what life threw at her and she made the best of it. She didn't turn bitter, she became better.
Mm.
You know, I don't think there could have been a better answer to that question. It came at you, and you did what you had to do with it to make you better. And that is such a big deal. I think that's a lesson for all of us. You sometimes in life you don't get to choose where you're planted, where you are. But what you can do is to make sure you get out of that place or you grow in that place and become the best version of yourself while you're in that place. So great question. So let's do let's talk a little bit about, we're going to do what we call a rapid fire question. So you just answer with one word, right? What is one word that describe your healing journey?
Freedom.
Hmm. If your story had a title, what would it be?
And sh- and she overcame.
What is the boldest thing you have done in the name of growth?
I'm sorry, what was the boldest?
thing you have done in the name of growth?
Jump out, get out, jump out the box, pick up and start it all over again. When life throw you lemons, make lemonade.
Use what you got, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I love that one. That's awesome. Donna,
Wow.
any final questions for us?
I think the final question that I'd like to ask you is, how would you like to be remembered by your girls?
Mm,
Being resilient, utilizing what I have in my hand and being an overcomer. And no matter where mom found herself, she didn't use anything that she went through as an excuse. She bounced back. She
mm,
remained, in the game. She remained active no matter what, because I could have laid down and died and say, this is it. But I chose to live. So, no matter where I found myself, I chose to live.
mm. It's a choice,
Choose
right?
life. Yeah.
Hmm.
Life is a choice. All right. So as we draw down and time is on us, is there any final thoughts, Kayla, that you want to share with us?
Well, I just want to know if anyone had any questions or anything that I could answer them, but I just want them to know that you have the power and the choice to create your story, your life. Don't use anything as a crutch to say this happened. It happened, and what are you going to do about it? So if anyone need prayer, you can reach me at Author Shaquilla. If you need prayer now or whatever, I'm here. I'm an encourager. I am AKA the hope dealer to pump hope in you. So that's the last and final words that I do have.
Mm, you got so much going on, and good things, and what a way you've changed your life. You have a story to tell, and just continue to tell that story. Continue to share that story. All right, Dr. Polly, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you coming on. Now, as we come to the end of today's episode, right, today's show on In the Spotlight, let me speak from the heart, right? What you witnessed today, I wouldn't consider it just an interview. What we heard from Shaquilla was a testimony of resilience, faith, and the power of rising up again and again. Shaquilla, let me say thank you, right? Thank you for bringing your full self into this space because you sure deliver your full self. For sharing the pain, the lessons, and the strength that came from walking through the fire. And you have walked through that fire, but you came out on the other side, right? You didn't just tell your story, you owned it. Often during our conversation, you said you accepted full responsibility for everything that happened in your life, right? So you owned it, and in doing so, you gave others permission to own theirs. And I think that's the essence of owning your story. You let others know that, hey, it is your story, it's my story. I need to own it. I'm responsible for whatever happened in my life, right? So you reminded us that our past does not define us. And you said it. In fact, purpose is what defines us, right? That transformation is possible, and that no matter how broken life feels, healing and hope are always within reach. And you're the perfect example of that. Now, to our viewers, if Shaquilla's story stirs something in you, don't ignore it, right? Let it move you, let it challenge you, let it change you. This platform isn't just about spotlighting stories, it is about sparking action, awakening purpose, and building community through truth. So, Donna, let me turn it over to you.
All right, thank you. So once again, just echoing what Dr. Stephenson said, we thank you, Shaquilla, for being here with us this evening. We so appreciate you sharing your life story with us and being authentic in what you've shared. And to our audience, we thank you for joining us this evening. And we really hope that if you're in a space where you may be experiencing some of the things that Shakila have gone through in her life, that her story and looking at her and where she is, spark something in you so that you have the drive to come out of that situation and move forward and take that bad thing that's happening and turn it into something positive so that you can change the trajectory and the direction of your life. And I would definitely like to take the opportunity to also invite anyone out there who would like to be a guest on our podcast. If you'd like to come on, just reach out to us at a collision with purpose at gmail.com. We would love to have you as a guest on our show. We can have, different conversations. Because once again, it's not about us, it's about the people that we're reaching, the lives that we're impacting, because we're all about uplifting individuals so that they can live a more purposeful life, right? So we definitely encourage you to reach out to us if you would like to share your journey with us and just come on board. Also, it is Thursday, tomorrow is Friday, and I am going to charge you all to go out there and do one act of kindness. Find someone that you do not know. I'm not talking about a friend or a family member because that is very easy to do, but a perfect stranger, someone you do not know. I'm going to charge you to go out there and just do one act of kindness. It could be a word of encouragement or just find them, coffee. Like, a lot of us, we go through the Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts thingy line and get coffee. Hit up the person behind you, get their coffee or something of that nature. So let's just go out there and spread kindness and love throughout the world. And we're living in serious times, so let's not take each other for granted, but let's just continue to uplift each other and take care of each other through love and kindness. And thank you all for joining us on In the Spotlight this evening. Have a wonderful rest of the week and be safe and be blessed.
Step into the spotlight. Couple lights on, cameras roll. Time to break the mold. No more silence, every story's gotta be told. Truth in the air, no filter, no disguise. Real talk, real change. We open up your eyes. We got the voices that are changing the game. Fearless, unchained, calling our names. From the struggles to the rise, we expose, we ignite. No topic too deep when you step in the light. We got the ventures, spotlight at your truth be heard. Unfiltered conversations, every thought, every word. We challenge, we question, we dive in the deep, breaking the silence. No secrets we keep.